We've seen Disney in nearly every aspect of their business, whether it's box office, whether it's Disney Plus streaming, whether it's losing market share at the theme parks. The past couple of years have been disastrous for them.
Disney is deeply infected with the woke mind virus. In fact, if you ask an AI what is the most woke company on earth, it's Disney.
Especially when it comes to their animated movies. The thing that Disney used to be known for, these family-friendly animated movies that really built this company into the monster that it was until the last decade, they've been buying up other properties. Bob Iger bought up, obviously, a lot of other properties to bring under the Disney brand. But when it comes down to it, animated movies, that's what they were known for. That is no longer the case because animated movies, whether it's from Pixar, whether it's from Walt Disney Animation Studios, they've been flopping left and right for Disney as families have walked away. And now it's getting even worse specifically for Pixar because despite Disney already firing 7,000 people last year to desperately try to cut costs, including people at Pixar, the biggest layoffs Pixar had ever seen, almost 100 people got laid off. It looks like they're not done. Pixar facing layoffs amid Disney struggles. This is from today. This is an article from this morning, not from, 9 months ago when it happened again, when layoffs happened at Pixar. Significant layoffs to hit Pixar in 2024. Sources told TechCrunch the layoffs could be as high as 20% of the studio's 1,300-person workforce.
Dad, what are you doing?
Ooh, is this him?
That was really bad.
Now, this comes in light of a bunch of failures we saw and, use COVID as the excuse for those. This comes in light of Lightyear flopping, Elemental, which they tried to gaslight everybody. The mainstream media tried to convince everybody that it was a success. It wasn't. It lost almost $100 million at the box office. But now we have this news. That's almost 250 people that could be fired from Pixar, 20% of their workforce, after already doing layoffs less than a year ago. They are in trouble.
Again, it goes back to when you have a brand like Pixar, which is an iconic brand, which is a legendary brand. And if you go back before identity politics took over and started dominating Pixar, there was no bigger slam dunk in the movie industry than a Pixar movie. I've never seen a brand that had that level of just like every time Pixar movie come out, you knew it was going to be a home run. Families knew they could take their kids to see it. You knew it was going to be a huge box office success. Because, again, we've seen stuff like, yes, Star Wars has been a success, but like we're talking about a studio, an actual movie studio that no matter what they produced was going to be a home run. And in a lot of instances, a grand slam. And you had the trust of the audience. And now here we are where Pixar has lost all of that. The true test for Pixar will be what they have. A Inside Out 2 is coming out later this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, so they've been dwindling for a while. Was Coco a Pixar movie or was that a Disney?
Coco's Pixar,
and that's the last great Pixar movie in my opinion. So. And I haven't seen a lot of them recently, but yeah, it's just another thing, man. They've lost when you are a family-oriented company and brand, and you've lost the trust of the family. This is the result of it right here. So all the people that were saying, you guys are complaining and you guys are, well, you know what? If you would have listened to our complaints, people wouldn't be losing their jobs right now. But people are losing their jobs. And it's not the people that are responsible for this, unfortunately. The people that are responsible, they're still at the corporate office. They're still getting their bonuses. And the everyday people that are working their ass off, they're the ones losing their job. So congratulations, Pixar. Identity politics fails once again.
Those people die off like dinosaurs.
Just like we always say it does. It's a cancer. It's a disease. If you have it there in your company will eventually fail. Sometimes it takes a little while for it to have an impact, but it will destroy from within. It is a disease that runs through and eats everything alive.
What would Walt Disney think of Disney today? I think he's turning in his grave.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for Disney right now, despite billions of dollars literally being lost on streaming, over $1 billion easily lost at the box office this year, that's not really their biggest problem. Those are bad things, but those could be changed. Those could be short-term things. You could turn things around. The biggest problem they have is their reputation.
Yes.
They are no longer known as a family-friendly brand. It's why Universal is demolishing them in animation. And they're doing it for much cheaper, by the way. They're not, it's not costing $200 million to make a movie for them. it's costing 70 million for something like Migration, 100 million for Super Mario Brothers and the Minions movies. So they're making a shit ton of profit on those. But the most important thing is that people aren't worried about going to those movies and having their kids coming out wanting to cut their dicks off. But that right now is legitimately a fear that normal everyday people have about Disney. Because when you make yourselves a political company, that's how people are going to view you. They did it to themselves, and now they're suffering the consequences.
And I don't think it's going to improve in this particular year in 2024. Now, I don't know. So we have Inside Out 2 that's coming out. Is there any other Pixar movies that's slotted to release this year?
Well, yes, but they are ones that have already been released. They're things that they released on Disney Plus during COVID. So things like Luca, and a couple other ones are going to be coming out in the next couple months, but not any like new releases. But we are going to see some releases from Pixar in theaters just because Disney just doesn't have a lot coming out this year.
Yeah, and really it's like, you know, whether it's the theme parks, whether it's, and I guess the theme parks are the least affected by all this, but they're still not completely out of the woods with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, the further we get into this year, this is going to be a crazy, crazy year. I don't know what to expect from this year from Disney and their messaging, because obviously they only have a few movies coming out, but as a company, you know they're going to get further involved in the political side of things. They just are. So I don't know, man. But Pixar is sad. It is sad. And now, I mean, Toy Story 5 is in development right now. I don't know when that's set to release. When's Toy Story 5 supposed to be releasing?
No idea. But like that was after Bob Iger came back, right? And they made a bunch of fucking cuts. They fired a bunch of people, and they're like, "Wow, shit, we got Pixar movies flopping." And they're like, "By the way, Frozen 3 and 4 in development, Toy Story 5's in development." They just started announcing all these fucking sequels to try to be like, okay, look, we're going to do more things that you like, the third and fourth iterations, more sequels.
Can you imagine if like Toy Story 5 goes like the Indiana Jones route in terms of like just being such a disaster?
It's called capitalism.
You know what I mean? Like, because Toy Story 4 was already a massive step back for the brand, even though it did very well. I think that's what people are going to remember is Toy Story 4. And I don't know, man. Toy Story 5, a completely unnecessary movie, just as 4 was. But I don't know, man. Toy Story 5 seems like an act of desperation. All I know is if you want to save Pixar, you need to bring John Lasseter back. Bring Hugs back to Pixar. That's what we need.
I mean, when did he get fired? Like that's like the line of demarcation right there.
Yeah,
is when Lasseter got fired and when shit started going bad.
Bashy Washy's lost his fucking mind today, and everybody else is doing it too. 50 gifted memberships, and that was after dropping 20 to start it, and another 10. So Bashy has now dropped 80 gifted memberships just on this stream. Dom H has dropped 10. Subhuman has dropped 5. Badger Boy has dropped 5. Emily Rose has dropped 5. Max Drummer has dropped a gifted membership. Osmora has dropped a gifted membership. Holy shit.